There's a lot that goes into successful gardening, between having the right equipment, good technique, and wise planning. But unfortunately, all that hard work and investment could be for naught if there's one tiny detail that you overlook. What I want to share with you today is the secret weapon of successful indoor gardeners, from windowsill warriors to commercial behemoths. This little detail will ultimately save you money and help you meet your personal gardening goals. This physically tiny but hugely consequential detail is seed selection. How you choose your seed varieties or cultivars is going to have a huge impact on the outcome of your veggie or herb gardening. Yet, this crucial step is often overlooked due to a lack of information available to help make an informed decision. Today, we're here to help with that and show you how you can make the important step of seed selection a regular and rewarding part of your gardening journey. So how can we start selecting the right seeds? Well, it's important to understand why differences in plant genetics matter in the first place. These differences I'm going to talk about are between different cultivated varieties, referred to as cultivars. Think about cultivars like dog breeds. Your Shih Tzus and your Retrievers are both the same species, although they obviously have some pretty striking differences in physical characteristics. Plant cultivars are much like this in that you can have many distinct plants that are all ultimately the same species. Cultivars of the same species could be totally different heights, grow in different conditions, have differently shaped leaves and fruit, and even be different colors, but they'd still be the same plant. So, why does this matter to the home gardener? Well, just like how you wouldn't go bird hunting with a Shih Tzu, you're not going to get great results by using a commercially bred outdoor variety in an indoor hydroponic garden. Take, for example, these two basil plants. This one right here is short, dense, and has fairly uniform leaves, whereas this one is a little bit taller, way less dense, and has some varying leaf sizes. Which is better for your home garden? Is it the taste that ultimately decides? If you've ever bought seeds in those big box store displays, chances are the seeds work fine for you if you're working in a nice, sunny, spacious, outdoor, soil-based garden, because that's generally who they assume their market is. But if you're working with low light availability, tighter spatial parameters, or indoors with grow lights, especially in a hydroponic system, those off-the-rack seeds are not your best choice. Urban Leaf seeks to ensure that gardens of any size are properly equipped to grow to their maximum potential. As you may have been able to tell at this point, we believe that seed selection is a hugely important part of that process, which is why we take that role upon ourselves for all of the seeds that we sell. When growing edible plants, like a lot of other things in life, you're going to save a lot of time and energy if you figure out what you want before you blindly go after it. So, with edible herbs, for example, you need to decide what traits you ultimately want from your final product. Are you growing this plant for its eye candy quality over the intensity of the flavor? Do you want fast growth and mild flavor, or perhaps slower growth but focus more on richer, fiercer flavor? In our most recent round of basil cultivar testing, we ran 4 of the leading basil cultivars for indoor production against each other. Whereas the faster growing varieties had taller plants, we found that the actual yield of the finished product compared to slower varieties was generally similar. The slower growing varieties had more time to focus on their leafy growth as opposed to that height, and therefore had bushier, denser leaf growth. Whereas with our recent bottle garden parsley trials, we found that growth was basically the same across cultivars. And the end choice ultimately came down to aesthetics and taste. As you can see here, different cultivars of parsley have varying leaf shapes. You may also want to account for more technical factors, such as temperature and light requirements, spatial footprint, as well as humidity, depending on where you'll be growing. But this generally matters more between species rather than amongst cultivars. Almost all edible herbs and veggies like lots of sun and moderate temperatures. As the number of indoor cultivators of edible plants has grown in the last decade, it has become increasingly clear that intentional seed selection is extremely important. There are two main reasons for this. First, when space is scarce, efficiency is key. Plants need to be the best suited for intensive indoor cultivation systems. And these may not be the same plants that are best suited for outdoor growing situations. This ties into the second reason, which is that indoor growing can take a lot more forms than outdoor growing. Indoors, you can have a multitude of kinds of soil systems, hydroponic systems, aeroponics, ranges of light intensities and temperature control, and generally more hands-on care. An all-star seed in a soil field may be a total flop in an ebb and flow hydroponic system, much like how you wouldn't expect a houseplant to fare well in the wild. Cultivars are bred for one setting, and that's usually where they perform best. Luckily, the last decade has seen an explosion in the number of cultivars being bred for indoor and hydroponic cultivation systems. This means that these custom-crafted cultivars are out there, right for the picking, not just lurking in some plant breeders or burying. What this also means, however, is that there are so many options out there that one could easily have a full-time job trying to figure out what's the best choice. At Urban Leaf, we do all of that work for you. We talk to seed suppliers, we do the testing, we analyze the data, and we keep you, the customer, in mind the whole time. If you're looking for great seeds, custom tailored to your gardening needs, we have your back.